"Renee, get down here, now!" Marcus's voice boomed up from the basement, jolting her out of a quiet afternoon and making her set her coffee mug in the sink with a frown, wondering if something had toppled or sprung a leak below. She stepped onto the creaking wooden stairs, blinking into the raw glare of a single bulb that made her squint. Her husband stood in the back corner, among half-open boxes and scattered papers, holding a small book with a faded pink cover. "That better not be my diary," she said, forcing a nervous laugh she didn't feel. She hadn't opened those journals in ages. Most were forgotten by now. But something about the way Marcus stood made the hair rise on her arms. He turned toward her slowly, and what showed in his face wasn't only anger. There was disbelief and a kind of disgust that chilled her. "Yeah, Renee," he said in a low, even voice. "Your diary. The one you apparently used to keep some very detailed records." She swallowed. "Marcus, come on. You know I used to scribble all sorts of silly things when I was young. It's probably nothing." She reached out as if he might hand it back. He only tightened his hold. "I'm not sure nothing covers what I just read," he said, nostrils flaring. "My God, Renee, you've wrecked me." Her pulse spiked until it thudded like a drum in her ears. "What do you mean?" He opened to a page with a purposeful dog ear and read in a voice that trembled with rage. "I wish Marcus would agree to marry me sooner, but I'm sick of waiting. Kyle is so much more fun, and oh, that thing Kyle did with his." Marcus stopped, exhaled sharply, then flipped to the next page. "There's more here, and it's not only Kyle." Renee's stomach sank. She'd half remembered writing down fantasies, and nights she'd lived some true, others dressed up. She'd been young, insecure, foolish, and the thrill of putting it on paper had felt like a secret back then. "Marcus," she tried again, keeping her tone light though her chest tightened. "That was so long ago. Why would it even—" "Stop talking!" he shouted, veins standing out in his neck. "I'm not finished." Hands shaking, he skimmed to random paragraphs and read with barely controlled fury. "I can't stop thinking about how Derek pinned me against the wall last night, the way his fingers felt on my skin. Marcus is away again, and I'm so lonely. Maybe I'll let Derek come over this weekend too." Oh wow, another entry went. "I never thought I'd be the type to be with more than one man in a single day, but here I am. Sean this morning, then Owen tonight. The rush is indescribable. I keep wondering if this is right," he read on, voice clipped. "But I'm not hurting anyone, am I? Marcus doesn't have to know. I'm sure once we're married, I'll settle down." Each new bit twisted the knife, and Marcus looked close to sick. Renee pressed a trembling hand against her mouth as it hit her that these diaries held more than a fling with Kyle. There were multiple episodes, from stolen kisses to full-on affairs, and pages of explicit fantasy too. "Marcus," she whispered, eyes wet. "That was 30 years ago. None of it matters now." He glared and snapped the diary shut. "Matters? You think it doesn't matter that I'm reading my wife bragging about hopping from one guy to another?" He shook the book at her, hand unsteady. She stepped back as fear edged into defensive pride. She wouldn't let him see her collapse. "That's not who I am anymore. I was young and dumb." "Were you?" he shot back. "Because you wrote here about things you did while we were already engaged." "Oh, please," she scoffed, folding her arms. "This isn't some fresh betrayal. It's older than our whole marriage. I haven't seen those men in decades." "And I had a right to know what I was marrying," he roared, his voice echoing off concrete. "Instead, I got duped into thinking you were just anxious about me leaving for school, while you were with other guys the minute I turned away." "It was only a few times," she hissed, and as the words left her mouth, she remembered it hadn't been a few, not remotely. Marcus's stare froze her. "You said a few. Try reading your own lines, Renee. Pages of you meeting man after man, like you were on a self-destructive tear. And the details," he swallowed, looking sick. "I can't believe this." Her face hardened. "It's done. You can't change the past." His laugh rang hollow. "So that's it? It doesn't count because it's old? She lifted a shoulder in a show of indifference, even as panic gnawed. People do stupid things in their 20s. Move on. Marcus pried open another box, rifling through old photos. And you kept these too, he muttered, starting to wonder if you enjoy reliving every filthy thing. She recognized the box Polaroids and trinkets she should have trashed years ago. He pulled a photo. Renee's heart nearly stopped. Who are these men? He asked slowly, eyes moving between the print and her face. The picture showed Renee on a couch, half-dressed in a tight top, leaning into a cluster of 5 guys. Each wore a cocky grin with an arm draped around her. One flexed a bicep, another gestured crudely at her backside, and worst of all, Renee's own expression. Thrilled. "Oh, please," she said, brushing at the air. "Random party. It's nothing." But the suggestive pose was obvious. The rumpled hair, the too familiar closeness, and a black marker scrawl at the bottom. Best night ever. Marcus's eyes shone with tears he refused to let fall. "Why would you save this?" he asked, voice hushed and fraying between heartbreak and fury. "Why hold on to any memory of that kind of violation of our trust?" She shrugged again, the motion weak and twitchy. "I forgot I even had it." He let the photo drop like it burned. "Get out," he said. She stared. "I said get out." Renee stormed up the stairs with tears in her eyes and a rebellious scowl locked on her face. "This is insane," she muttered. After so many good years, he was going to throw everything away over ancient history. Why had he been snooping in the basement anyway? Marcus arrived moments later, holding the open diary and a handful of photos. "You're going to your parents," he said flatly. The calm scared her more than the shouting. "You can't banish me. I live here too." "Not anymore," he said. "Not until I decide what to do with all of this." He motioned at the diary. "Do you get how humiliating this is? For 30 years I believed in a marriage that may have been a lie from day one." She rolled her eyes. "If it was a lie, then why did we have such a good life?" He trembled, each breath ragged. "Was it a good life, Renee? Or did you just get bored with cheating and pick me because I was safe?" "This is exactly what I mean," she snapped. "You're blowing everything out of proportion. I had a wild streak back then. Big deal. People change." His lips thinned. "Pack your things, or I'll pack them for you." She wanted to keep arguing, but one look told her he was done. She turned and went to their bedroom. While she shoved clothes into a suitcase, she heard him pacing outside. Just before she pulled the zipper, a family photo on the nightstand caught her eye. Marcus, their daughter, their son, and her. She remembered that day. They laughed in matching sweaters, looking perfect. She picked up the frame, shut her eyes, and whispered, "He'll calm down." He has to. In the entryway, Marcus stood at the door with an expression like granite. She hauled the suitcase to the car, chin up. "This is ridiculous," she said. "You'll regret it." He swallowed but didn't answer. In the rearview mirror, she saw him standing with the diary clutched in his hand. She hated him then, almost as much as she hated herself. In a small town, news sprints. By the time Renee reached her parents' house, her phone lit with messages. "He's at the bar telling everyone what he read," texted Linda. Renee cursed, so he wasn't just hurt. He was airing it in public. "He's humiliating me," she muttered, shoving the phone away. Her parents, both in their 80s, and fond of Marcus as a son, looked shocked and pale when she said he'd found old journals. She avoided details. She called it overreacting to some affairs before marriage. "But sweetheart," her mother said, baffled, "if it was before the wedding, why is he so angry?" "It's complicated," Renee said, skipping any mention of multiple men, of overlap with the engagement, or of the 5-man photo. Meanwhile, Marcus got on a video call with both their adult children and told them everything. Hours later, her daughter blew up her phone. "How could you do that to Dad?" she demanded, voice shaking. "Cheating with who knows how many men? That's disgusting." "Watch your tone," Renee said, flushing. "Oh, so now you're going to be the stern mother?" her daughter shot back. You can't hide behind that. Dad showed us the pages. You wrote about 5 men in a single week while you were engaged. It wasn't. I mean, it's out of context, and it was decades ago, Renee stammered. You lied to him, her daughter hissed. You lied to us. I always looked up to you. I'm disgusted. The line went dead. Days later, Renee tried to salvage things with the kids, especially her daughter, who barely answered, but then the hammer fell. One afternoon, her daughter called, voice eerily calm. "Mom," she said, "I sent a DNA test." Renee froze. She remembered writing about being with multiple men around the time of the engagement. The dates sat uncomfortably close to her daughter's conception. She'd always told herself it had to be Marcus's. Why else would she never have said anything? "What do you mean?" she asked, her throat dry. "A simple DNA kit. I wanted it for genealogy, but you know what else it shows, right?" Renee bit her lip. "Honey, you're being irrational. Those at-home tests aren't even that accurate." "They're accurate enough," her daughter said, voice hard. "Besides, Dad agreed to do it too. We'll see." Renee shut her eyes as the room spun. "All right," she whispered. "Go ahead." The wait dragged forever, each day worse than the last. She prayed she was just imagining things, that Marcus was indeed the biological father, because if he wasn't... The results hit one afternoon while she was still at her parents' house. Her phone buzzed. Her daughter's name lit the screen. "Mom," came the shaky voice. "It says, I'm not Dad's daughter." Renee's heart cracked. Words wouldn't come. She felt faint. "Oh my God, it's true!" her daughter cried, near hysteria. "My whole life is a lie. Dad isn't my dad. Did you know?" Renee choked on a sob. "I suspected," she said, "but I wasn't sure. I told myself I was overthinking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Her daughter sobbed audibly. "Dad's packing. He's moving. He says he can't stay in this town. He wants to go near his parents in Florida. You have to fix this." "How am I supposed to fix something like this?" Renee cried, dizzy. "Your father is everything you know him to be. He loves you, but he's not my biological father," her daughter said. "That changes everything." The line clicked off. Renee drove back to the house she'd shared with Marcus, equal parts defiant, humiliated, and terrified. Inside, Marcus stood in the living room, eyes red with anger, or tears, or both. "You've got nerve," he said quietly. "Showing up here." "I need my things," she said, tossing her hair, defensive. He let out a bitter laugh. "Take all your things. I'm moving officially." She froze. "What about us?" "There's no us, Renee," he said. "You cheated before we married. You carried on like..." He stopped. "And now we learn our daughter isn't even biologically mine." A storm of feeling tore through Renee. She wanted to argue the distance of those years, but the DNA result had stripped away his last illusion. "Marcus," she managed, swallowing. "I was young. I didn't know who the father was. I loved you and chose you. You raised our daughter. That counts." His eyes burned. "Counts? You let me believe she was mine. I read to her every night. I taught her to ride a bike. I paid her college tuition. And you never had the decency to tell me there was a chance I wasn't her father." She stepped toward him with open arms. "I was protecting you and her. She sees you as Dad." "Protecting me," he echoed, bitterness in every syllable. "You decided I shouldn't know. You played God with my life." She reached out. He recoiled. "Don't," he said. "The only reason you came back was to beg for pity or try to save your reputation." His eyes skimmed her with contempt. "Arrogant. Selfish." "Oh, I'm arrogant," she flared. "You're the one telling the whole town and humiliating me." "Good," he snapped, voice rising. "You deserve it for the lies, for turning our life into a joke." Renee clenched her fists. "You're no saint, airing our dirty laundry like you're better than me." He looked like he might explode, then forced himself to exhale. "Leave," he said, voice calm. She hesitated. He pointed at the door. Leave or I'll call the cops and say you're trespassing." Her mouth twitched. He wasn't bluffing. She spun and walked out, slamming the door. In the car she broke, sobbing. "Why are you crying?" she asked herself. "You did this. You did all of it." In a town of 3,600, the scandal lived in every diner, grocery, and coffee shop. People whispered when she shopped for her parents. "Did you hear?" Turns out Renee's daughter isn't Marcus's. I heard she was with 5 guys back in the day. Supposedly there's a photo. In the cereal aisle, 2 women said Marcus was leaving for Florida and Renee was getting what she deserved. She ditched her cart and fled. Her phone buzzed in the lot. Her mother. "Come back. Marcus is on the line. He wants to talk." Renee rushed home with a pounding heart, hoping he'd cooled enough to be rational. She walked into her parents' living room. Marcus was on speaker, tension thick as thunder. "Renee," he said, sounding exhausted, "I need a favor." "A favor?" she said, incredulous. "I'm done. I'm leaving for Florida next week. I need you to sign some papers so we can move forward with a separation." Her stomach flipped. "A separation? Don't do this." "Sign them," he said, flat. "Or I'll file for divorce with no negotiation, and you'll get nothing." Her parents exchanged horrified looks. Renee pressed her palms to her temples. "So that's how you're going to play it? Leave me with nothing after 3 decades?" He gave a short, humorless laugh. "You left me high and dry the minute you decided cheating and lying were fine. Sign or I do it the hard way." She bit back a retort as tears burned. "Fine. Send them." A few weeks crawled by with almost no contact. Renee sank into gloom, dodging nosy calls. She also heard from a reliable source that Marcus had been out with Suzanne, the ex-wife of Kyle, the electrician from those pages, and jealousy and anger surged. "He's doing exactly what I did," she muttered, pacing her childhood bedroom. "Only he's flaunting it. He wants me to suffer." Truthfully, Marcus had every right to see whomever he wanted. Still, the idea of him close to Suzanne bonding over wounds she and Kyle had caused twisted like a knife. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You reap what you sow." Suzanne. Renee stared, blood boiling. "I won't engage," she told herself, even as her thumbs typed. "Leave me alone. You have no business in my marriage." The reply was instant. "It's not your marriage anymore, sweetie. He deserves better." Renee hissed, but forced herself to stop. They can have each other, she thought, though regret panged. She hadn't understood how fast everything could fall apart. On a cold Sunday morning, she drove to her former house to face Marcus one last time before he left for Florida, hoping for closure, maybe to beg him to keep a line open, clinging to a tiny hope that their bond could outlast old sins. The driveway was half filled with moving boxes. Marcus supervised a friend loading a rental truck. When he saw her, his expression hardened. "Why are you here?" he said, striding up before she'd shut the car door. Wind pushed his hair back, tracing deeper lines of strain and heartbreak over his face. Maybe hate, too. She stepped out, ignoring the friend's curious look. "We need to talk." Alone. Marcus stiffened, then nodded once. Inside, the living room seemed bare boxes lined the walls, the old couch already wedged in the truck. He crossed his arms. "Say what you need to say." "Marcus," she said, swallowing. "I know I messed up. I'm sorry. But we had 30 years. 3 decades of marriage. That should count. I made awful choices when I was young, but I've been faithful ever since. You know that." He snorted. "Do I? Considering how well you hid that side of yourself." She edged closer, ignoring his derision. "Let's be honest. Our daughter may not be your biological child, but you're the only father she's ever known. She loves you, and I do too." A muscle twitched in his jaw. "You should have thought about that before lying to me for 30 years. "It was a mistake," she said, voice hitching. "I'm not who I was back then. Don't throw away everything we built." He stared for a long beat, then shook his head slowly. "Months ago I might have listened, But after reading those diaries, they're old, she cut in, tears rising. Stop acting like I cheated yesterday. Doesn't matter if it was 30 years or 30 seconds, he shouted. You let me believe I was marrying someone loyal and honest. Meanwhile, there was a closet full of bones. Derek, Sean, Owen, and God knows who else. And that photo with 5 men? I can't unsee it. Shame flickered across her face, then hardened. You're unbelievable. I can't change the past. Exactly, he said, voice dropping to a harsh whisper. And I can't change how it sits in me. Her bravado cracked. Tears spilled down her cheeks. So that's it. You're leaving me? We've already divorced in every way that matters, he said. The legal process will catch up. I have no reason to stay in this house, this town, this state. I'm done. She clasped her hands. Please, therapy. Maybe we can... No, he said. Final. I won't live wondering if you're doing it again. I can't look at you without seeing them. Her shoulders slumped. So, you'd rather run off with Suzanne or whoever else? He raised a brow. At least Suzanne isn't hiding diaries full of secrets. But that's irrelevant. We're finished, Renee. You're a hypocrite, she snapped. If you're seeing her while refusing to forgive my past, he barked a bitter laugh. You still don't get it. This isn't about me hooking up. It's about your betrayal, your arrogance, and the lies at the foundation of our marriage. If you can't see the difference, there's nothing left to say. Silence crackled until his friend leaned in the door. Sorry, man. Truck's packed. We should go. Marcus nodded. Right. Renee stared, eyes pleading. But he turned, grabbed his coat from the floor, and walked out without another word. Days slid into weeks. Marcus left for Florida. Their daughter moved to Orlando for work. Their son stayed in Atlanta. And Renee lived in her parents' house. Her childhood room, haunted by regret and what used to be. At night, she scrolled old photos on her phone. Barbecues, birthdays, anniversaries, pausing on each smile. She thought about the day in the basement and wished she'd destroyed the diaries or never written them at all. Regret did nothing now. Calls trickled in from old friends hungry for the story. She ignored them. She ignored everyone. There was nothing to explain that the truth hadn't already made plain. She caused this. Some nights, she imagined driving to Florida, knocking unannounced and begging, but she knew it would only deepen the humiliation. The man she loved, the one who raised a daughter he thought was his, was gone in every way. In a desperate late-night moment, she texted her daughter, I'm so sorry, honey. I love you. I hope someday you can forgive me. How's the new apartment? No response. She tried her son next, leaving a tearful voicemail. Please call me. I know you're hurting. I'm hurting too. I love you both. Nothing. The silence roared. One chilly evening, her father found her sitting in the dark living room, staring at nothing. He cleared his throat. Renee, he said gently, I know this is hard. Maybe go talk to the kids in person. She nodded, tears pooling. They won't pick up. I'm a pariah now. He sighed and set a hand on her shoulder. You have to understand. Why, especially your daughter. Her identity's been shattered. If they're angry, let them be angry. If it takes 1,000,000 apologies, give them. Don't let pride or resentment stop you. Renee bit her lip. I don't know if they'll ever forgive me. Maybe not, he said softly. But that doesn't mean you stop trying. Months passed. Renee found a small part-time job at a boutique to keep from coming apart, cooked for her parents, cleaned, tried to outrun the emptiness. Marcus was gone, somewhere near Tampa, renting a place by the water. Rumors said he still spoke to Suzanne. Some said just friends, others more. She told herself not to care. The thought still gnawed. Her kids stayed distant. Her daughter sent the occasional curt text about paperwork or taxes. Her son never replied. Some nights, Renee lay awake replaying everything. The group photo with 5 men. The entry where she bragged about sleeping with different guys while Marcus was away. The day she found out she was pregnant and refused to line up the dates. It was easy then to say, It's the past, and move on. Now she knew some pasts never leave. They sit in boxes and diaries and old photos in a basement silent landmines that wait decades to explode. As she drifted into restless sleep on the narrow bed of her childhood, she heard Marcus's voice again. You built our marriage on lies. Maybe, she thought bitterly, he was right. But in dreams, she still saw the look he used to give her, the inside jokes, the carpools to their daughter's soccer. She'd wake to tears, the heartbreak new each morning, and life went on, splintered, lonely, and loaded with regret. She replayed the basement scene again and again, Marcus holding the diary and reading lines she once thought were nothing. That was the minute the perfect picture broke. There was no way to write it back.